Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to present my topic on the learning outcome based assessment of student performance using DMABIK model. It is one of the model we adapt to assess the learning outcome of the students. Just before going to my presentation, I would like to show how the classical performance assessment model, which is existing across the globe before the incorporation of academic accreditation and quality assurance system. Usually, student performance are viewed as the grade point average expressed at the end of the academic journey. They will be given GPA and student performance are classified. This was a common practice across the globe. After the incorporation of the quality and academic accreditation journey, there is a need to assess each learning outcome attained by the student, by means of which how the graduate attributes are assessed. It is almost like an iceberg. Several processes, several methodologies, lot of homework, lot of background work need to be done to assess how each learning outcome and the graduate attributes assessed in the students aspect, which is essential for the employers and recruiters. This is what the famous statement I provide down. Usually a good GPA is required to acquire an academic degree. But how the graduates attain the attributes as well as the learning outcome will help them to get the job. So that means this is about the employability skills, how the graduates attain the learning outcome. Now the system is focusing on the learning outcome assessment, and the employer want to know what the graduates can able to produce their output, which is matching with their job requirements. So today's presentation, it's a short 15 minutes. I would like to discuss about how it is assessed, how we are practicing in Saudi Arabia using DMABIK model. First of all, before going into that particular DMABIK model, I would like to explain some of the things, the requirement from the accreditation body. In Saudi Arabia, NCAA, it's nothing but the National Center for Academic Accreditation Assessment. It consists of 8 standards. The standard 3 is focusing on teaching and learning. You can see some of the criteria I mentioned here where the learning outcomes are emphasized. They talk about the learning outcome development, graduate attribute development. They talk about something related to the alignment of the learning outcome and the graduate attributes with the national qualification framework. And the third criteria, they talk about every academic program have to develop mechanism, tools to assess both program learning outcome as well as graduate attributes. This is the entire story, and it is the most important essential criteria where each academic program in Saudi Arabia have to fulfill. Let us come to the DMABIK model. The model what we developed at Imam Abdul Rahman University to assess the learning outcome to fulfill the requirements. So this is the model, DMABIK model. It is purely based on the basic idea of the DMABIK model came from Six Sigma DMAC approach. Based on that, we developed this model, and it is an automated process. We start with first, we define the learning outcome. The definition of the learning outcome according to the individual academic program and according to the 8 levels of the national qualification framework. It varies from undergraduate degree to the doctoral degree. Then we have a measure phase. Measure phase will measure the learning outcome using direct and indirect assessment method. The third phase is analyze phase. Based on the data we gathered from the measure phase, the analysis will be carried out using appropriate statistical tools and techniques. Once we analyze, we come to a conclusion what is the actual performance of the student with regard to the learning outcome. The actual performance is the outcome of the analyze phase. Once we know the actual performance, we go ahead with the benchmarking phase. In the benchmarking phase, we do 2 types of benchmarking: internal benchmarking, external benchmarking. Internal benchmarking is assessing our own performance, the retrospective assessment of how the learning outcomes are attained by the students. It may be the year-to-year performance. If there is a parallel program exists inside the institution, we'll compare it. External benchmarking is nothing but we compare ourselves with a program which is offered in another Saudi university or another international university, by means of which we can able to adapt good practices to improve performance. So the outcome of the benchmarking process is we gather some kind of information, the good practices to improve our performance. Then the next phase, that is the improve phase, will start. we develop some improvement plan, corrective action plans are developed, how to improve the performance of the student with regard to the learning outcome. The last phase is a control phase. We develop some control plan to sustain and improve the performance. That is the last stage. The cycle never ends. At the end of each academic year, the cycle will continue. We can see the arrow mark, the cycle will continue. Then the whole process will start again. So this is a DMABIK model of assessing learning outcome. I will briefly explain each phase quickly because of the time constraint. In the defined phase, the learning outcomes are developed. How we develop? The learning outcomes are developed at two levels, institution level as well as the program level. It starts from the program mission, goals, attributes, and the learning outcome at the institution level. You can see on the right side, the arrow mark. On the left side at the program level, the learning outcomes are developed from the mission, goals, attributes, program learning outcome, course learning outcome, and lesson learning outcome. It is a micro, it's like a tree, tree structure. So this is the way we develop the learning outcomes. You can see two arrow marks. One is in the top-down approach, another one is the bottom-top approach. You can see on the right side, institution level, and left side. Whenever we go for development, it is actually top-down approach, from mission to learning outcome development. When we go for assessment, it is bottom-top approach. We need to measure the LLOs, lesson learning outcome. Based on that, we have to measure the course learning outcome, then program learning outcome. Based on the PLO, we measure graduate attributes. Then you can able to measure the program mission. So this is about the development. Just briefly, these are the three domains we are following in Saudi Arabia as per the National Qualification Framework. Knowledge and understanding is one domain, skills, values, autonomy, responsibility the third domain. The entire learning outcomes are organized according to these three domains. Then in the defined phase, we'll check the structuring of the learning outcome. There are three different structures. I can show you the next slide. Action verb, it should start from action verb, subject of learning, and context of learning. So we will verify whether the learning outcome is structured in a proper way or not from the quality and accreditation perspective. Then the second phase of the DMABIK model is a measure phase. Here we collect data. We have to collect data for the assessment of learning outcome. So this is a method. There are two methods we use. Direct method of collecting data, and the second method is indirect method. Direct method, we use the student performance in the formative and summative examination. And in addition to that, continuous assessment also taking into consideration. So these are the direct methods we use to collect data for the learning outcome assessment. Indirect, mostly we consider surveys. The assessment of course learning outcomes are captured from course evaluation survey. We call it a CES. And the program learning outcomes are assessed through PES. Then there is an exclusive survey called PLO survey. Directly, program learning outcomes are converted into a survey. Then student performance in licensure exam for a health science program, and employer opinion about the performance of the graduates. So these are the various ways to collect the data for learning outcome. As I explained, these are the strategy we follow. At a course level, we always assess the CLO based on LLOs, lesson learning outcome. Then we measure the LLOs. Based on the LLOs, measure CLOs. Every course should have an assessment plan. This is the important criteria. There should be an assessment plan. Every course coordinator have to provide their blueprint for measuring the course level learning outcome. At the program level, every program coordinator have to provide a program planning matrix by aligning the CLO with PLO. Then there should be a cohort specific program assessment plan for assessing the learning outcome within the cohort. Then by means of using the CLO, we measure the PLOs. These are the strategies. These are the methods we use to assess the learning outcome at the course level. You see in the first column, domains are mentioned. And the last column, what assessment method we use to measure the learning outcome of each domain. This list is not exhaustive because we can add more. Just to give an example, what strategy, what methods we assess the learning outcome. In the analyze phase, based on the data what we collect from the measure phase, we will analyze the data. This is the blueprint, this is the roadmap for assessing the learning outcome. To measure the CLO, you see the second one, course level, we need the LLOs. How the student achieve the lesson learning outcomes are measured in the measure phase and they're combined together, arithmetically combined together to measure the CLOs. Once we got the CLOs, there is a mapping matrix I already explained. There should be a mapping of CLO with the PLO. Once we got the CLO, we arithmetically calculate the CLO to get the PLO. Once the program learning outcome, that is the PLOs are assessed, we combine together all the program learning outcome. and we measure the graduate attributes at the program level. Again, the graduate attributes of all the programs are combined together to get the institutional attribute assessment. But the main ingredient for this kind of assessment is nothing but the mapping matrix. It is an important exercise across our university. All the learning outcomes attributes should be mapped with each other. And also, it is an important requirement from the accreditation perspectives also. So this is a spreadsheet we use in the Excel sheet. It's too deep. It's like a workshop, but I'm giving an idea how the learning outcome of each student is measured. You can see in the second column, student names, all the register number, each domain, each learning outcome. Every course coordinator have to fix the tools. I give some example: quiz, presentation, midterm, end of term exam. They have to allocate marks for each tool. Then how much each student got out of the marks allocated, they have to mention. Combine all values arithmetically. I just give an example. The total percentage of students who achieved this K 1.1, knowledge 1.1 learning outcome can be measured. It's an automated spreadsheet. Once they fill the data, automatically the calculation will be done. This is one of the spreadsheet we use. At last, in the course learning outcome, this is the distribution. It is a 8-point distribution. We make how many students achieve, how much score in each learning outcome will be calculated based on the grades. Next step will be the assessment of program learning outcome. Once course learning outcomes are assessed, we go to the next step of developing the program learning outcome. We convert each learning outcome into a KPI. You can see the example, PLO KPI, by using the grade distribution system. Percentage of students who achieve D grade and above. D is the minimum requirement, 60%. We can keep C grade, B grade, it according to the requirements of the program as well as the mission and goals of the program. So we convert a PLO into a KPI, and using the grade distribution, we find out how much percentage of students achieve the particular grade and then calculate the program level learning outcome. So once we measure the program level learning outcome, the final table which is provided is a grade distribution for the PLO assessment. There are 4-point grading system we develop at our university to measure the program level learning outcome. The next phase will be the benchmarking phase, fourth phase. Once we analyze the data, we want improvement. To improve, we need benchmarking. We benchmark with the outside organization. That may be a parallel program or within the institution. So this is the way we do benchmarking. Finding out who is best in our area and adapting the best practice. We compare ourselves and adapting the best practice to improve. These are the benchmarking what we do. Internal benchmarking. We compare our own performances, last 2 or 3 years trend data. In case of a parallel program exists, for example, a respiratory care program conducted in main campus can be compared with the respiratory care program conducted in peripheral branches. In the absence of another parallel program, we will compare our own performance with the last 2 or 3 years trend data. That we call it as internal reference. Then we fix our target, our anticipated performance for the next academic year. We fix the target. We usually give a guideline, 15 to 20% increase from the previous year. Then we measure the actual benchmark, that is the actual performance. Then we go ahead with the external benchmarking, compare ourselves with the parallel program outside the institution, both national and international level. Finally, we keep a new target for the next academic year. This is a benchmarking exercise for the learning outcome assessment. Once benchmarking done, then we'll go ahead with the improvement phase. In the improvement phase, we'll do SWOT analysis. We assess our strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. From the analysis, this is the example of our analysis. Anything above 80% in our PLO assessment, we consider it as our strength. If it is an indirect assessment, anything above 0.6, consider as a strength. That is in green color, I put it. Yellow is opportunities. Between 60 to 80% is our opportunity for further improvement. We're not performing 100%, but it's yellow is like an opportunity for further improvement. If it is a survey, that is an indirect assessment of learning outcome, mean score between 3.6 to 2.6 to 3.6. Weakness, anything below 60%, we consider as a weakness. That means the student didn't attain the learning outcome, less than D grade, especially for the surveys, less than 2.6. While doing this exercise, we always consider the threats. Too many learning outcomes is a big threat for us. Too many learning outcome, too many CLOs contributing to a particular PLO, too little PLOs. That's why we educate our programs to have a proper mapping of CLO with the PLO. If it is indirect assessment, surveys usually responder fatigue. Sometimes the responder may not give a right answer. Responder fatigue is a weakness. Poor response rate is a weakness. And the last one is the open-ended questions. Mostly the students are not taking open-ended questions seriously. That will affect our improvement opportunities to know the truth from their voice. So these are the two methods we adapt to develop improvement. Direct method, we focus all weaknesses, that is red. We focus all yellow, that is improvement required, and develop our action plan. Indirect method, irrespective of these, we go to each and every course, each and every CLO, assess it, brainstorm ourselves, and then develop an action plan. Then this is the action plan template to improve the learning outcome. Finally, the control phase. Control phase is nothing but to sustain our improvement. There are some control strategy we have. For example, every course coordinator have to set the exam according to the well-structured course and exam blueprint. It is mandatory. It is in the control phase. Then a root cause analysis will be conducted. Then we have a faculty management scorecard. I'm finishing in 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm finishing in please. Maybe 1 minute. Faculty management scorecard, we have that to check the adherence of faculty to this assessment process. We have 2 electronic applications. This is the important aspect in control phase. Electronic application to automate the process of surveys, that is indirect assessment. Then we have electronic application. First of its kind, first one in Saudi Arabia. We develop an electronic application called Navatij to measure the learning outcome and monitor it continuously. It's automation. We did. This is our reporting template of the learning outcome. How we report each KPI, the learning outcome converted into KPI. We have target, example I provide, actual benchmark, actual performance, internal threshold, comparison with 2 to 3 years, external partner. Then the analysis, we'll see the gap, we see the trend, we see the lesson learned from the partner, and we improve it. Finally, the new target benchmark. What is our new target for the future? So this is a reporting template. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes, sir.
I think in chat box, no questions are there, sir.
Yes. No problem. No issues, sir. No issues.
Yes, sir. So I thank you very much for your excellent, and you have given about CLOs, course level outcomes. He has published more papers, and he has more than experience of 20 years. So this is brief introduction about Dr. MD Awadallah, sir. So now I request sir to address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of Global Virtual Summit 2022. And I am going to talk about the challenges facing academic program leadership in attaining accreditation, the experience from Saudi Higher Education Institution, and I am going to talk about Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University as the sample. And first of all, I would like to define related challenges facing the definitions related to challenges facing academic program leadership in attaining accreditation, and the role and responsibilities of academic program leaders, challenges facing the academic program leaders in attaining accreditation, and some suggestions and best practices regarding attaining accreditation. The definition of accreditation according to the American Council of Higher Education Accreditation, SHIA, they define accreditation as a collegial accountability and quality improvement of an academic institution or program. It is designed to show whether the institution or program has met or exceed the standards published by its accreditation body and is achieving its own stated mission and objectives. In addition to that, the International Network for Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education, INCAHI, also they define accreditation that accreditation assure the education community, general public, and other generic or organizations that an institution or program has clearly defined objectives which are educationally appropriate and maintain conditions under which their achievements can be reasonably expected to continue. And here I am going to talk about here the responsible, the commission responsible about the accreditation is Education and Training Evaluation Commission, which has 5 centers: QIAS, NCAA, MASAR, and NCSEE, and Teaching Committee for Military Accreditation. The one concerned or responsible about the accreditation of the higher education institutions is the NCAA, which they set the academic accreditation policies, the institutional and program accreditation. And it has also many tasks about setting the national standards for evaluation, testing and measurements, evaluating programs and institutions. In addition to that, registering of qualifications through the national qualification frameworks. So it is the commission responsible about the accreditation in Saudi Arabia, and they grant 2 types of accreditation. First, institutional accreditation, which they evaluate the whole institution infrastructure, human resource, administration, and the academic program of the institution based on 8 standards, 186 criteria, and they are going to make it or to reduce it up to 108 criteria. Also, they grant program accreditation, and it is the assessment of academic program based on 6 standards. Very soon, it is going to be 5 standards, and the criteria 96 before, and they are going to make it 48 criteria. So the challenges facing academic program academic program leadership in attaining accreditation. I took Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University as a sample for this study. And Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal, it has 19 colleges, 4 clusters, 56 academic program, grant bachelor degree, and 30 of them got accreditation. So according to the experience of those programs got accreditation, I am providing the conclusion or the challenges facing these academic programs. And accredited, it is accredited institutionally since 2015 and going to be re-accredited in 2022, and it has good ranking, less than 500 in QS ranking. So first, I will define the academic department leadership and the academic leadership, that the ability to adopt specific academic leadership vision for the program and link it to the values of the institution and its environment to achieve the goals of the program institution, in addition to the personal goals of individuals. And academic leadership, the ability to effectively integrate staff and resources to achieve mission and goals that cannot be achieved separately. The roles and responsibilities of academic leaders, the ordinary roles regarding the higher education, they are providing suggestions, proposals to the department council, college and university council for developing their study plans, and also they assure consistency in mission and goals with higher levels up to the institutional levels, and implementation of senior management decisions related to administrative education and academic issues. Also, they are organizing, directing, and managing the program department regarding recruitment, retention of the faculty members, contract terminations, partnership contracts, ranking, evaluation, and all these aspects. Also, they prepare annual budget and resource management to approve it by the senior management and achieve program. And also they are managing achieving the learning outcomes at the level of the courses, at the level of the programs, and also planning and organizing academic advising activity. And this what I have mentioned was the ordinary tasks and responsibilities. And regarding achieving accreditation, they have additional responsibilities, and which these additional these additional roles and responsibilities regarding accreditation, like forming the committees, self-study committees, self-evaluation committees, quality committees, and also follow up these committees, and motivating the involvement of faculty and staff to work in self-study committees, encouraging wide participants of faculty members, because as we know that preparing self-study and accreditation, it is a teamwork. In addition to that, they reviewing the proposed recommendations for improvement in the periodic reports, in annual program report, and the self-assessment report. In addition to that, the accreditation reports, and also receive and review the recommendations from the external review regarding the accreditation, and they develop action plans and follow up the implementation of these action plans. The challenges facing academic program leadership in attaining program, actually, one according to Simon Black in his questionnaire, that he reflected many challenges like conflict between management and research aspects of academic leader role, combined role, education and research, and also the administration, enhancing the students' experience and bureaucracy. In addition to that, also efficient use of resources, transitional roles for academic leader, difference between the demands encountered in professional, academic, and senior leadership, and globalizations. In addition to that, and according to Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal, also there is Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal universities, also there is quality resistance from some of the faculties, and lack of the concepts and also the culture of quality, and this needs supporting from the senior management. In addition to that, the high load of administrative work, it is one of the challenges. The experts, faculties, the faculty members also, most of them sometimes, or in some programs, they leave the institution, and also the delay in preparation, the periodic annual program reports and course reports. This is also one of the factors. If we look to the academic accreditation process, we will find that there is too much stages and many processes that the academic program leader has to follow up closely these processes or accreditation processes, like meeting the standards, the accreditation standards, and also spreading the quality culture and the self-assessment, also preparing self-study reports, and also fulfilling the eligibility requirements, also preparing the college or the academic program for the field review visit or the virtual review visit. In addition to that, after the result of the accreditation, also he has to prepare the action plans for the recommendations of the accreditation report, and also follow up and post accreditation reports. So all these processes, it is also challenges facing the academic program leaders. In addition to that, there is eligibility requirements he has to prepare it for accreditation. There is eligibility requirements for the institution, and there is eligibility requirements for program accreditation. If we go for the NCAA standards, we find that also the role of the academic leaders to meet these criteria regarding the NCAA standards, the mission and objectives. Also, he should also focus on the program mission and also the program objectives, and in the program management and quality assurance. Also, he has role regarding the councils, departments, academic and administrative experience, organizational climate, effectiveness of education, and many criteria. And also in teaching and learning, also the role, he has many roles or she has many roles regarding the graduate attributes, the learning outcomes, the academic curriculum, and also the design of the curriculum and consistency of the national qualification framework, and also achieving the learning outcomes in standard 4 regarding the students. Also, he has many roles regarding the admission, the counseling, planning based on reference data, admission requirements. In faculty members also, he has in the standard 5 faculty members, his role also, or her role also, recruitment and retention, planning, terms of appointment, shifting between programs or from programs, adapting, evaluation and feedback. In learning resources also, he has many roles regarding the availability and the appropriateness of learning resource, availability of specialized laboratories and human resources, evaluation. So this is these are the challenges, and also this diagram also explain or shows the challenges regarding the budget, the ratio of employee graduates, the graduation ratio, curricular developments, but we found that quality assurance and continuous developments and accreditation, it is one of the challenges for the academic program leaders. Here, there are best practices for regarding enhancing the performance of academic program leaders. The academic programs, the institutions, they should have academic leader database, and academic studies have proven that the training programs about leadership are effective. Also, the management skills through specialized bodies led to productivity. Also, increase the productivity. Academic leaders are distinguished scientifically and may need training in management and interpersonal skills. Also, scarcity of leadership professional is major reasons for assigning them for many tasks that may affect their performance. Leadership training programs provide future leaders with highly specialized training. And also, I would like to emphasize that there is a need to build a database of employees who have successfully enrolled and completed specialized training programs on leadership, especially academic leadership. And this database will contribute to decision making of appointments, academic leaders, and provide effectiveness alternatives to meet the shortage, replacement, and cost in case of developments and emergency situations. And also accreditation and appropriate leadership characteristics are considered the base for all forms of fruitful developments, including obtaining national or international academic accreditation. The leadership skills of higher education, according to Black and Groombridge and John, study. Also, at the level of vision and objectives, they stipulated that, or they stated that stable and long-term vision along with general perceiving of its purpose, spotting what may influence the results regarding teaching and research, also setting of clear objectives achievable at short term, assurance of flexibility over all planning levels, and convergence with employers, assurance of connectivity between improvements, actions, and performance, assurance of employees' adoption of the institution culture.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Time.
Okay. Just their suggestions regarding at the level of the learning and developments, and also at the level of practical managements, and at the level of the work details. These are the best practices. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Awadullah, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable lecture.
My pleasure. It is my pleasure.
And not only that, you have mentioned also mentioned about roles and responsibilities of academic leaders. That's good. From starting to finishing, you have maintained a constant speed. That is also another good thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Arun sir, thank you.